The 7 candidates who are now competing to be the Republican nominee for President of the United States are making their cases to the voters, and it happened at a second primary debate this week. Now it is time to hear actually from the voters' voices now on the Faulkner Focus. The candidates on a host of issues at the top of Americans' minds. Let's watch just a little bit here.
We want to reverse this country's decline. We need to choose law and order.
No parent should ever wonder what's being said or taught to their child in the classroom.
Unlock American energy. Drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear energy.
We've got to get back to actually enforcing the law.
The Chinese-Russian alliance is something we have to fight against, and we are not going to solve it by going over and cuddling up to Vladimir Putin.
We have to secure the southern border of the United States of America.
The one thing we should do is let the American people keep their money. When that happens, the greatest opportunities rise from the ashes.
An average of polls taken before the debate showed former President Trump, again, absence from the stage this time, with a huge lead. Governor Ron DeSantis, the only candidate in double digits nationally, but there is a long way to go as the primary season approaches. That first caucus in Iowa is January 15th, so we're still more than 75 days out. To our voters right now, though, front row, left to right, David P. This is the first presidential election he is old enough to cast a vote in. He'll be 19 in December, though, so he won't be 18 long. He says he's an independent, leaning toward Governor Christie?
Yes.
Okay. And Marion T. says she also plans to vote for Donald Trump. Back row, left to right, Joe T. is leaning toward Governor DeSantis, but still, you said kind of undecided?
Undecided, yeah.
Okay, all right. Robin R. right now says she's leaning toward Governor Nikki Haley. And Bonnie W. right now says she plans to vote for Governor Haley as well. So I just want to get a quick take on how the debate played in your lives. Who made up their mind positively, yep, I know who I'm going to vote for after the debate? Yeah, a couple people did. You still knew you wanted Donald Trump?
Correct.
So nothing changed your mind?
No, all of the policies that were mentioned in the clip that you just showed is all Donald Trump.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's pretty simplistic. And what does that mean to you?
That means that Donald Trump, he is the person to get the job done, and everyone else that was basically explaining what they believe is important to them with regards to policies, I believe that it was a running for his cabinet.
Interesting. Robin, what's your take? And you picked Nikki Haley?
I did. I felt that she was very confident. I felt that she was poised. She came with a lot of ideas and plans. I felt that she handled herself in a sea of kind of other candidates who were bickering and going back and forth. She stayed very calm. And I just liked her confidence, and I liked her ideas. I thought.
All right. For any of you, raise your hands, who felt like somebody got eliminated that night? Like, nope, not coming back. 2, 3. Not you. You're the only one who didn't feel that way, David.
Correct.
Why not?
I think I already had a pretty good general sense of what most of the candidates stood for. And I thought they were reiterating things they had previously said on the campaign.
See, this is why I think your generation is so critical right now.
Yeah.
Because at 18, almost 19, you'd pay more attention because you haven't voted in an election like this before.
Absolutely. I can't
right?
wait. I'm very excited.
You can't wait to vote.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Joe, who did you eliminate by watching the debate?
Chris Christie.
Chris Christie. I think somebody else here did too.
So she is.
Bonnie, you did as well. Why?
Yes. I just feel like he's more of a bully. He's not really polished. He's not ready to be our president.
And how about you, Joe?
Yeah, I just think he's in there for all the wrong reasons. You know, he's there mostly to go after Trump and try to make him look bad, so he's not a real candidate in a sense. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
Okay. All right. And I know that, Marion, you felt that way too. All right, let's skip to this. I want to talk to everybody about the number one issue for everyone, and that has got to be the economy, especially right now. Yeah. I read recently, by the way, that China just bought the largest pork plant in America. So foreign policy will be on the bill, I would imagine, when you vote. It'll be in your minds when you vote. But mainly that affects our economy. Try to buy some pork after they're competing on our own soil for it. But right now, let's hear the candidates talking about that number one issue voters say they have, the economy.
We've got to address the underlying problem with Bidenomics.
If you want to actually reduce our national debt, you have to grow our economy. In order to grow our economy, you need to create about 10 million jobs.
The reason why people are striking in Detroit is because Joe Biden's interference with capital markets and with free markets. Get rid of the mandates and subsidies that are driving American gasoline, automotive manufacturing into the graveyard.
We are using taxpayer money to pay people more to stay at home than to go to work. That is wrong.
Congress has only delivered a budget on time 4 times in 40 years. If they don't keep the government open, they should not get paid. No pay, no budget.
Joe, what stood out to you? What did you like that you heard?
As far as passing the budget to keep the country running, I think there should be consequences for if you're not going to pass, if you're going to stop people getting paid, then you should not be able to get paid also, because I think it's important that you feel the same pain they feel.
Do you blame Republicans? Because Democrats have done it too.
I think the right thing to do is pick and choose what needs to be passed. And then, the pork spending, as you would say, or things that are not a necessity, they have to vote on that separately, I think. But the things that we have to do, the country needs to run, that has to be done.
Did you get any sense from that night or anything you're reading necessarily that someone has the best idea to go against Bidenomics? Because that's where we are in our economy right now.
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Well, I could tell you that President Trump had the largest deregulation for corporations to be able to bring jobs back to the United States. And the moment that Biden came into office, everything was reversed. So I believe that the American people are tired of being crushed by taxes and always being crushed by constant red tape. And my question to anyone that is running to be president is, when is the United States of America going to stop being the cash cow of globalists?
Wow. Okay, David.
Sure.
I saw you raising your hands as Marianne was talking. So were you agreeing with her?
Not entirely, because I think it's worth mentioning, although President Trump did deregulate the economy in many regards, he also initiated massive spending sprees. He spent trillions and trillions of dollars, particularly during COVID, and he wanted to spend even more with the $2,000 stimulus check. So I think that weakens the argument in a potential general election against Biden, because he spent a lot of money too, and some of the people on that stage have it.
Just to play, the flip side of all of that, and it also happens to be true, the timing of when those two presidents spent the money might make a huge difference. In the beginning, I remember interviewing Donald Trump as president in the first 3 weeks of the nation closing its doors and doing what Dr. Fauci and everybody said we should do with a lockdown. And he was optimistic that by Easter it would reopen, and it didn't. And so you started to see that money flow. Biden, however, 2-3 years later, still spending it. I don't know if that makes a difference to you, but those are the facts. Bonnie, what is your thought on it?
Well, there's just so much going on with our government right now. I do think that Governor DeSantis has proven that what he can do in Florida, what he has already done and can do for our country. I just think there's just so much that needs to be done with as far as the spending. I mean, my children are grown. They're having a hard time finding the money to do anything extra. Everything is going towards their mortgages are high. Mortgage rates are up.
You're talking American dream type stuff.
Absolutely. Just everything in general. Education, every part of the economy is suffering right now.
Yeah, it's tough. When everything costs, including food, extra.
Yep, gasoline,
you got to make decisions. Everybody's making decisions. Yep. President Trump was not on that stage, as I mentioned before, and some candidates embraced that this time around. Watch.
Donald Trump hides behind the walls of his golf clubs and won't show up here to answer questions like all the rest of us are up here to answer.
The America First agenda does not belong to one man. It does not belong to Donald Trump.
This is where President Trump went wrong. He focused on trade with China. He didn't focus on the fact that they were buying up our farmland. He didn't focus on the fact that they were killing Americans.
You know who else is missing in action? Donald Trump is missing in action. He should be on this stage tonight.
Joe, you like DeSantis. How did he do?
I think he did okay. He did better than last time, but there's still a lot of answers need to be.
What would you ask Governor DeSantis?
What we do about foreign policy like China, because that's one of our biggest threats right now. And, mostly the economy is the biggest thing we have to worry about.
And those two things are
Sure, I mean,
interlinked, especially if you have to buy pharmaceuticals.
Sure, you talk to a lot of people, and they're worried about the winter coming up, but the heat rising now. Con Ed's going to raise their rates and everything. So
yeah, so let's just for a second talk about energy and a lot of the barbs that were going on during both debates, I would say, touched on this idea. And you heard Vivek Ramaswamy, drill, frack, do whatever you got to do to bring us back to energy independence. You hear former Vice President Pence say, well, he and Trump had energy independence. They were very, very proud of that. What other kinds of things are you looking for, Robin, in terms of where the candidates are right now? And for that matter, does the field need to shrink so we can learn more along the way?
I think so. I think that there were a few candidates that showed that they're really not cut out to be president at this point. I would like to see the field shrink so that we have more time for the candidates to answer certain questions and be able to get a little more in detail with things like the migrant situation, the economy, crime. There were a few things that I felt were touched upon, but I would have liked to have heard more.
The next debate is in Miami, 5-6 weeks from now. It will be cold in most parts of the country, and that energy topic is going to pop, and they'd better have some answers on that. Real quickly, you are a strong Donald Trump supporter. Does he need to be on the next stage? What does he need to do at this point, or is there nothing for you that he needs to do?
I believe that Donald Trump and his supporters is so great in this country that by him being on the stage, it will just take a lot of the spotlight off of the other candidates, which is why I believe he wasn't on there to begin with.
And are you okay with that, though? I mean, if he's got 50-60%, do you care that much that he then takes some more oxygen out of the room?
I believe that the more that they suppress him and whatever that is going on with regards to the courts is only fueling his campaign that much more.
Interesting. All right. I am glad to hear from all of you, voters' voices. I hope you'll come back. And I can't promise sunshine, but maybe not like this. I don't know what this is, Armageddon today. God bless you all. And I look forward to voting day and hearing how you voted.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.